Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Andrew Tate defends himself against Piers Morgan. No more wasting time, man. Let's get it.
Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking it?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
Thank you.
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old women.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age
You're
is
saying
different.
18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, then ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely
Is that
not.
but you just accepted it was misogyny.
Hold on, man. Hold on. What's up with this energy that Piers Morgan is just coming straight out of the gate with? I mean, playing extreme offense from the onset. Absolutely doesn't know what he's talking about, right? That's not the definition of misogyny. Let's look up the definition of misogyny here. Misogyny, dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. And that's not even the worst part. First of all, Piers Morgan needs to have the definition of misogyny first outlined before he goes around accusing people. This is what people do, right? They misuse words, don't understand their definitions when we all have computers and we can all go look up what misogyny means. And the worst part is he's not letting them talk. If this is what the whole interview looks like, then Piers Morgan is going to make himself look terrible. Listen, Piers, I know the British love tea, but please try some coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
But if a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments,
Yeah.
would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for a woman that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
So you're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
the reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I had
Oh my gosh, bro. Let the man talk.
said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
That doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth, then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father,
terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is... The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's true.
Hold on a second, man. What Piers Morgan did right there has to be one of the lowest tactics I've seen other interviewers. Somehow trying to blame Tate, right? Indirectly trying to blame Tate for the death of some innocent girl somewhere that has little to no context behind her actual story. And just randomly bringing it up in this interview. I mean, do you guys, does I can't believe this shit. Does Piers Morgan think his viewers are idiots? Do they think like they're watching this and they're all of a sudden not going to see what he just did right there, guys? That's horrible, right? That's straight up real low tactic way of trying to win the audience to your side without making any valid points or disagreements against anything Andrew Tate has said, right? Un-effing believable. Wow. Bad coffee.
This coffee smells like shit.
That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance, not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
W. Tate, right? No doubt about that. It was very obvious that Piers Morgan was getting frustrated with his inability to trick, I don't know what he was trying to do there, trick Andrew Tate into thinking he was making any actual sense. I mean, literally, from the definition of the word misogyny, he was wrong. Right? He couldn't let the guy finish his sentences. He was fidgety and moving around. He wasn't maintaining frame, man. Shout out to Andrew Tate maintaining frame throughout the whole conversation. You guys want to know what it looks like for a man to maintain masculine frame? Checking out Andrew's posture during this whole interview, the way he's carrying himself, the way he's not allowing his emotions to get the best of him, even when he's visibly frustrated, right? As in he's getting interrupted. He's maintaining frame. Piers Morgan, on the other hand, is doing the opposite, right? If you watch him when he makes points, he'll fidget with his legs. He'll try to, regain composure. That's because he's frustrated. He's getting caught up in his own bullshit, right? Nothing that Andrew Tate said in this video that I've seen so far to kind of reframe statements he's made in the past and maybe say them in a way that people could understand, could be a little bit more palatable for a larger audience, to me, were wrong. So far, what I've heard sounds about right. As always, this clip is taking the internet by storm. We're going to check out and see what the people had to say about this preview to a larger interview will be published pretty soon, I'm assuming. This commenter says, Piers is the type of person to think that he won an argument because he didn't allow the other person to speak. 19K likes, that's facts. Next comment says, Piers is the type of person that wraps a portrait of himself and gives it to you. Oh, man. Another comment here says, my respect for Andrew Tate grew by immeasurable amount because of this interview. Yeah, Piers, you managed to actually make Tate even more popular and likable. That's what you did. In case maybe he did it on purpose. Who knows? He might secretly drink coffee, but something tells me he doesn't.
Put that coffee down.
Next comment here reads, whenever misogyny is mentioned, a dictionary must be at hand. Facepalm emoji. Repeating it with increased volume doesn't make it make sense in any scenario. Laughing emoji. Hopefully the whole interview isn't just an interrogation. Yeah, I hope so, man. When you don't let someone articulate their argument, it's because you're afraid of them being right. And finally, our last comment here says, it's hilarious that the show is called Uncensored, but Piers is trying his hardest not to let Andrew express his views. Yeah, the irony. More and more when I see these kind of like more traditional talk shows, like the way it's been done on bigger platforms and news platforms, I understand why podcasts are more popular, because you can't hide, cut out, and edit things to fit your narrative. In a podcast, you're just watching people express themselves. And for example, the PBD podcast with Andrew Tate, that one was like 5 hours, and Andrew Tate and the hosts, they were able to ask him questions, present disagreements, push back, and he was able to explain his points, and the conversation went well. But I don't know if I trust this style of interview where Piers Morgan is probably going to edit the shit out of whatever he's about to publish because he doesn't want to look bad, right? But we'll see. As always, curious to know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Listen, I appreciate you for checking out another episode of The Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.